Hello everyone, it is I, Sevens, and we are back with another module. This module is 1-3, which is part of Heating Basics. In particular, with the point 3 of this module, we will be going over heat management. Now, I was thinking very hard when making this entire module series, and as you know, I have split it up into heat and things related to heat for heating basics, and cooling, which is a solution that for a lot of Oni players you're going to have to eventually have a solution for heat, to make the duplicants happy. That's in its own module. That is in module 3. So pretty much you can bounce back between modules 1 and modules 3 to get information that will help get you started. For those watching for the very first time, this episode, my whole guide is to help those not very sciencey minded get into Oni without, freaking out about all this stuff. So for this particular episode, we're going to keep things really simple. We have a scenario. This is our colony in this scenario. And the main focus is that we have plants up here that are growing, which will have their own module in the future. And we have our power, which is right here. Now, plants, a quick thing about them is they have conditions in order to be able to grow. But the big one that we're going to tackle in today's episode is the issue of heat impacting plants, which is why heat maintenance is very important. These particular plants, as well as others, have body temperature requirements. Right now everything's fine. It's at 21 degrees, roughly, Celsius, and they have a range between 5 and 30. But as we saw in the previous modules of Module 1, different things, buildings, can create heat when they're running. Like this, you can see it right here, it's creating heat. So you might think that the best choice is to put your power things like this inside your base. But when left unchecked, for example, if you don't have automation to automate these, and these are constantly running, heat can continue to come into the environment. Even this thing right here is producing heat. So what is the solution? Well, there is many solutions, but one possible solution, a very basic solution, is instead of having all this here, you can move this outside the base somewhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and move all of this to a place that I think is better, and we'll go from there. Okay, so what I've done is I've moved the stuff that we saw here that was generating power and holding power, and I moved it above the base. Now the idea that I have for this, and it becomes more of the case when you add on like nearby cold biomes and things like right up here, right there, is that if you put the things that are generating power, he's acting strange. You put the things that are generating power or generating heat away from sensitive things like your duplicants and plants, then as these continue to run, then even though they're generating heat, it's not going to impact your plants. And that becomes especially the case with having insulated tile, as we discussed in a previous episode. So it's important to think about where you're putting your buildings, especially ones that do end up generating heat. Because depending on where you put them, you might need to come up with a cooling solution faster compared to if you just kind of take advantage of the natural environment elsewhere. So for the next few videos of this module, we will continue to tackle other solutions for mitigating heat and what you can do to build a smarter colony. This can incorporate automation, maybe to not have the lights on the whole time, as well as other things. But to start, I really wanted to prove this right here. Again, this is a very entry-level, simple solution. It won't necessarily work long term. It's important to remember that these will still continue to generate heat, and eventually you may have to come up with a way to cool these, especially if the temperature of these buildings, or even more advanced buildings, continue to increase. But for now, if you're starting out, this is what I would personally do. Separate your buildings that generate heat from your plants. Alright, I'm Sevens, and thank you so much for watching this series, and I'll see you guys in the next one.